Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. Good old Buddy Martin on the Buddy Martin Show will join us here in just a second. Got a lot to talk about today. Gators crank up football tomorrow. Today is Media Days on campus, and I believe Buddy's going to be joining that. Good morning, Buddy. You're on the Titan MR hotline. How are you?
Good morning. I'm looking at you on the green phone right now. It's what you look like to me, but I know you're out there somewhere. And yeah, it's media day. I'm ready. I just posted a tweet with you in it that we're starting talking ball this morning, and we're going straight through. I'm jumping in the car with Chris Spears as soon as this is over. We're headed to Gainesville, where we're going to, we aren't supposed to say too much about it, but we got the players, the coordinators, and the head coach coming up today. And so we'll hear from some of them tonight. And then we got a whole Gator Bait team tonight. We'll talk on the show, and it's here. You know what they say in Tennessee? It's football time in Tennessee. Well, it's football time in Florida, Shane. We've been waiting for it, and it's here.
I do love that when they announce that right before kickoff in Neyland Stadium. It's football time in Tennessee. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. But, yeah, so today – Media Day, I think I saw the email that went out. It's only selected players. It's not every player on the team,
correct.
Right?
That's right. We don't know who yet.
Remember the days, well, they may have changed this. I'm sure they did. But I remember our Media Day back when I played. They used to put us around the field in the swamp in uniform.
Yep.
It was hot as hell.
Yeah.
And, like, reporters went from player to player. When did they stop doing that? Do you remember?
I don't know, but I know probably before Spurrier left, I think. And a lot of times it's like they modeled it after NFL Media Day or what the original one. And the bad part about it is about 10 players that don't get anybody to talk to them. Now, they still did that indoors. They kept doing that all the way through McElwain and Muschamp and even Mullen. We had every player out there, and now they cut it back, obviously because of COVID and because to be honest with you, every chance they get to pull back on the media, they will pull back. I know Ed, your guest yesterday, Edgar Thompson, was complaining about the fact that somewhat that it was getting difficult to see anything at practice, and I know most people don't understand that. But when guys like Edgar go out, they have to use their eyes, ears, everything to get information. They're going to give us 10 minutes of practice, like on whatever days, and shut it down. I know coaches like that. That's how they think. But the fans deserve a little bit more than that. And you remember, the media is only the conduit of the fans. The media is not like, they control anything. They're really at the mercy of what they're allowed to do. And it's not like they're out to expose secrets. They're there to kind of be informed, to give informed opinions to fans. And I know there's some that don't behave well. And I know that, that not media, but it's not like they're cheating or trying to get in and get secrets. They're doing their job, and you got to understand their role. And I think Edgar, who sometimes can be a little dicey, whatever, I think Edgar does a hell of a job. He gets as much information out there as anybody does for the Sentinel. And he does it for you guys. He didn't get paid any more for that. I mean, excellence is what we all aspire to, but we hope we can. But the fact is, it's really a crap job to be a beat person on a team like Florida. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think anywhere in college football nowadays, coaches are so paranoid about stuff. Speaking of that, Edgar wrote a really good piece this past weekend for the Orlando Sentinel about NIL with Bill Clark, Coach Spurrier, myself, some other former players. Buddy, speaking of like closed practices, because I go back when people start talking about that to my playing days when you could just walk into the gate. It didn't matter who you were.
Right.
You sit on that little hill where it's not even a little hill now underneath that oak tree.
Right.
People would watch practice. Coach Spurrier, what was his last year at South Carolina? Do you remember?
Was it?
What year? I mean, it doesn't really.
Let me think for a second. He left. I think it was 2011, was it? Or 12?
Has it been that long? Well, the only reason I ask is because obviously you weren't covering them.
No.
But I'm curious, because Coach is such a unique coach, the way he approaches things and does things his own way.
Yeah.
Do you know if he had closed practices or did it similar to how they do now, where they let you come in for 10 minutes, watch the kids stretch?
No, it was more. It was more open than that. And here, I remember the famous meltdown he had at his luncheon because Chris Harry had written something about Jack Jackson, and he really called us out. We used to have luncheons. I believe it was Tuesday, where they invite you a full-blown luncheon where you sat down, he gave us a little spiel, and you were allowed to ask some questions and whatever. And then I think practice was generally open, as long as you didn't write about formations and whatever. And he was pretty generous with the media in that regard.
I was just thinking, when people here in the last 10 to 12 years, many people have shut practices down. I'm just curious if he did that at South Carolina,
I don't know. I didn't cover. I was there a couple of times, but I mean, remember I was doing that book with him. I did 5 or 6 trips to South Carolina. I think I only went to practice once or twice, but there were media there. I remember walk on the field with him, and he would bring the media over and do something right on the sideline. So it was fairly open. When you consider what's happened today, where it's a closed shop, it's the CIA. It's like, oh, we can't let people know. They might tweet something out. So, and I get that. I understand the word. You know what, Shane? I wrote in my notes today about what can we, meaning you and I, do to coach the fans up a little bit, because they don't really know their role. The media, really, be honest, they don't know the difference between the media and some guy with 4 followers on Twitter. They don't know what they have as a responsibility to a fan. It's okay to be unhappy and voice your concern and even be angry. That's fine. You want to be mad at the coach or the player, but you just don't name call, and you don't. And I wrote down my notes: Aretha Franklin, RESPECT. As long as you do everything with a certain amount of respect, even when you're mad, it's allowable. But the thing about it is, and I'm sorry for dominating the conversation, but I'm on this thought pattern this morning about Billy Napier. Here you are with a fresh start, Gator fans. And by the way, I posted a picture of Billy Napier today. I tweeted it out and put it on Facebook saying I was going to be on the Shane Matthews Pop the Morning Show. I was going to Gainesville with my guys. I was going to be there for 3 hours interviewing people, come back tonight, do the whole show again. But keep in mind what we're doing here, and that is we're telling the story. And by the way, very lucky to be starting the season on an up note. Hey, Shane, 3 months ago, Billy Napier was a terrible recruiter. Right? When he first got hired, it's like, oh, this guy's not even from D1. I mean, not even, Power 5 and whatever. I go through all that stuff. Well, I guess he'll be all right. Then he hired the coaches. Well, as one guy called it, Nick Saban starter kit, Mike Griffith from Georgia, and so he's gone through a bit of that. And then, of course, all of a sudden there was a panic about, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago? Oh, my gosh, we don't have any 5 stars. This guy's terrible. Let's dump him. I mean, get serious, folks. I mean, why would you ever think something like that? And then lastly, now all of a sudden he's got these 4 stars. He had a really great week last week. Suddenly he's on the board. He's like number 11 in somebody's rankings, 247 in recruiting. And now he's cool again, but wait a minute. He might lose 3 of his first 4 games. That's what I heard yesterday. So it's like every time he takes a step up, somebody knocks him back. Folks, take a lesson from Shane Matthews. Be patient. Wait a little bit before you're ready to fire the guy. Let him coach a game and appreciate it. Shane, how do you tell fans how to appreciate what they have?
I don't know, buddy. I mean, I get impatient as well. I try to practice patience in a lot of things that I do in the world, on the golf course and life, whatever. But when it comes to this rebuilding process and hopefully bringing the Gators back to be relevant, it's going to take time. And yes, we had, I totally forgot the other day. Somebody was telling me at one point Jim McElwain through 16 SEC games was 13-3. And two of those three losses were by like 1 or 2 points. And then Mullen comes in and we go to 3 straight New Year's Day bowls and things are looking good. But you could just kind of tell the program was headed in the wrong direction. So Billy has a plan. He's one of the most genuine human beings I've ever met. Take away being a football coach, just human beings. He's played the game. He's played the quarterback position, which I love in my head coach. And it's just going to take time because, as I've said, and I when I say this, it's not directed at any player on the team because they had an opportunity to sign with the Florida Gators. And if you do, you take that full advantage of it. But this is not an SEC caliber roster. I'm hoping for the best this year. And look, they could surprise everybody. We don't know. Yes, Utah's a good team. Yes, Kentucky's a good team. Tennessee has improved. But, if they play mistake-free football or just don't make dumb penalties like we've had in the past few years and you protect the football, it's the old coaching cliches, good things can happen. They may not be explosive, blowing people out, but the bottom line is, last time I checked, is find a way to win the football game. And I think this team has an opportunity to do that. I still don't know what the record is going to be, but I'm excited for them, and I am very, very excited about what Billy Napier and his staff have done in the short period of time they've been here.
Maybe we're not doing a good job on coaching up the fans. I don't know.
Fans are going to think what they want to think, and a lot of times when they direct their opinions towards me or a former player, or me now being the Gator color analyst, well, you're part of the firm, or however they want to phrase it. You gotta protect the logo. No, I'm not employed by the University of Florida. I'm on the radio, but that has nothing to do with the University of Florida. It's from an outside source. So I'm going to try to be as honest as I can when I call a game. And it's just like last year when I called games. I saw some of the worst effort I've ever seen from athletes on a football field at any level. And I called it out. But that, if you don't speak the truth, and I saw this great interview with Charles Barkley the other day with Clay Travis. Somehow it popped up on my Twitter feed. And he says that when he got into broadcasting, I think Dick Ebersol was the guy that hired him first.
Yeah, NBC.
And so he basically told him, look, Charles, the great thing about you is even when you were a player, you spoke the truth. And people are going to like it. Some people aren't going to like it. And so as an analyst, and I don't know why I got off on this tangent, but we have to, even though it's your school, you still have to call it the way you see it. And I want us to win every freaking game that we play, but you got to be realistic at times. So having said all that, regardless of what I say or you say or Doring, Doring went off on the fans. I think you saw that on Twitter, and I kind of agreed with. I agreed with what Chris said. Do you agree with him?
Yes, I do. And but I want to say this in behalf of the fans. And by the way, now you have an appreciation that you're going to hate when I say this, when you speak your mind and tell the truth for what Paul Feinbaum tries to do. Now I know you're going to hate that because you're mad at him, but there is a certain veracity. No, there's time. He doesn't dodge the issues. I will say that. I'm not saying his opinions are right, although he knows how to draw up a football play. But part of your job, you just said as an analyst, is to be honest and tell what you see. If you don't, you're not doing your job, and you're exactly right. That's the job of any good journalist. I've had a lot of good friends at the University of Florida as coaches and players. I've had some of them be really pissed off at me for something I wrote because this is what I heard and saw. And I've had people call me up and scream at me and tell me I know what I was talking about. When I knew what I was talking about because I had the source. So the media has a role, and you're now a part of it, Jack. Just remember that. You can dodge this thing all you want to because you do a morning show and do whatever. but you got to come and tell it like it is. And you will. You'll do a great job. And that's what we want out of the analyst, Shane. We don't want you to sugarcoat everything. Naturally, you're
right, but
go ahead.
I was going to go back to using Paul Feinbaum as an example, and we're going to get to him in just a second here.
All right.
He hosts a talk show. He wants to stir up controversy.
Of course he does.
I mean, you don't hear him talking anything good about the Florida Gators right now because he's a Tennessee and Alabama homer.
Well, he did say now he has said nice things about Napier. He likes him a lot. Okay, so keep that. Don't say he didn't say anything because he has said.
Okay.
Well,
what we're referring to is, and let me get to this Facebook Live brought to you by Melvin Law real quick from Joseph. He says, "I love the big pickups at wide receiver. Makes me wonder if we're going to be as run heavy as we think." Mm-hmm. Well, they ain't playing this year, Joseph. That's the only problem. Yes, they got some big time wideouts, but they're coming next year. They ain't gonna do us any good. Okay, so back to Paul Feinbaum. Last night I was on your show. Right. You had a discussion with him. You were on his show, and he came up with some comments about. It was regarding the Florida-Georgia game, about moving the game. He thinks it needs to be going home and home. He's tired of seeing Tebow in Jacksonville. Well, my comments to that is, your network that you're on, Paul, pays Tim Tebow to be at the Florida-Georgia game for the SEC network, okay? So if you got problems with that, deal with the SEC network. But the biggest comment that he made, and we don't have the clip to play today, was he's tired of hearing about the what do you call it, the Werfel Cup? Well, it's not the Werfel Cup.
Yeah.
It's called the Desire Cup, which is a Florida-Georgia-based golf tournament that has raised thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe in the millions dollars for Desire Street Ministries, which Danny and his crew have done wonders around the United States. And for Paul to come out and criticize that is what I have a problem with.
Why don't you get on him about it? You ought to go on Twitter and rip him.
Well, I'm not going to get into that because he didn't direct it at me. But
don't matter. But you're a Gator.
I mean, have you ever disagreed or commented poorly about people doing charity work?
Yeah, but not in that context. And I know what he means. He wasn't referring to what his work was. He didn't make a poor choice of words. Don't make me defend Feinbaum's statement because I went off on him last night. I'm just saying the way he said it, and that was part of the interview, was he was saying he's tired of going to Jacksonville and being on the asphalt out there doing the show and not being on campus, which is what he wants to be. He thinks it's better to be on the campus. And he says, and he just sort of went off on, I'm tired of Tebow saying we're crossing the bridge, we're going across the water. I'm tired of Danny Werfel talking about the Danny Werfel Cup, whatever. It was an offhanded remark. He shouldn't have made it that way, but he wasn't ripping his charity work. I know Paul better than that. He was just referring to being gatored up and having gators everywhere and talking about it. So again, I'm not going to defend him. I'm just going to try to put in context what we're talking about.
Gotcha. Well, like I said, they pay him a lot of money for some reason.
They do, a lot of money.
Be on the SEC network. If he don't like being, in that parking lot at the Gator Bowl or whatever the hell the stadium's called now, it's simple. All he's got to do is call in sick or just tell him he ain't going that week. But I don't know.
And he said on the show, and you didn't hear it all. There was a part of it. But I'm from the other division. I'm over in the west side. I've covered, that's where I went to, but I did go to Tennessee, and I appreciate that. I wasn't as knowledgeable about the Florida-Georgia game as I should have been. I should have called you and other people, whatever. But still, having said that, I don't care if they never have it there again at TIAA Field. So that's personal with Gator fans, isn't it?
There's no question. I mean, like I said, I grew up in Mississippi, so I'm used to the Egg Bowl. Yeah. I knew nothing about Florida, Georgia. I didn't. You can watch it on TV all you want, but until you play in it and you're part of the rivalry, you don't get it.
All right, that's what I want to hear from you right there. Go on, I'm listening all ears. Talk about it.
Yeah, and so I love the game there. I think Georgia loves it. I think if you put Kirby Smart in a closet and you said, Kirby, you love the game there because you played there. You may not have won any games as a player, but I don't think he did, but he may have won one. But his recruiting nonsense is ridiculous because he's number 1, 2, and 3 with them playing the game in Jacksonville and recruiting every year. That ain't going away. I don't know what's going to happen with that game. I hope it never moves because I love it. I love OU Texas being in Dallas. So, but it's ridiculous for. I think when people that haven't experienced that game comment on it, they're not educated enough to speak on it on my behalf.
Okay. You got your Facebook Live today? Because I got your comments here.
I do. We got one right here. It's a good one from Julie. Julie says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, maybe Georgia needs to have some ambassadors like Danny and Tebow, and he can stop whining about it. Hell yeah. That's a good point right there. They got David Pollock. David Pollock's part of the SEC network.
He is. Yeah.
So
I like that. That's
Fine
good.
Mom that's very good. Yeah. So take that, Paul. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker, M.M. Parrish, will provide you a fast, friendly, and reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Like I said, Paul can sit here and bash the Gators for not being it not being good games and all that kind of stuff. But I have an issue when you start talking about these dudes that have done so much for their school and their community. All right, buddy. So, you got anything else to say about Feinbaum?
Well, yeah, I'm saying the Gator fans, why don't you call Feinbaum? He's on every afternoon. Voice your expression. I hear Georgia fans on there all the time. And call him up and tell him he's wrong. It's what I told him. Yeah, I offered to, here's the story, and I got off Feinbaum. Feinbaum contends, although I don't really remember, he wrote me letters of application when I was sports editor of the New York Daily News. He was a young writer trying to get a job, and I never answered him. It's a big joke with him. He keeps talking about it. So I said, all right, here's the deal. I'm sorry I didn't hire you. I want to go to work for you. You make all this money, and you hired me. I'm going to send you an application. At the end of the show, I said, I got the perfect job for me. I'm going to take you down Ponte Vedra Boulevard during Florida Georgia Week, let you meet some of the Dog fans and Gator fans that party together there. And you go, and I'll be your personal consultant on Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville for $1 a year. So far, I haven't gotten a response, but that's what my offer was.
What's amazing to me is, as a journalist, obviously those guys on ESPN, Doring, and it doesn't matter who it is, Tebow, any of those people, Laura Rutledge even, they can't be in favor of their school. Reese Davis, Alabama grad. Right. You have to just be level playing field. You never hear anything about Feinbaum, even speaking of Tennessee, the school he went to. I don't think he's proud of the Tennessee Volunteers.
Not right now. Who could be? Who could be right now?
Well, I mean, whether you are because they're winning or not, you still should support your school that you went to, in my opinion. I mean, even when the Florida Gators go 6-7, I'm still proud to be a Gator.
Yeah, you do.
But it is what it is, and he just wants to jump on. And granted, he made all his money because of his show there in the state of Alabama, where he had a bunch of hillbillies that would call in, argue about Auburn and Alabama, and that's how it all came. So, but that's what you should have been doing long ago. You should have had a bunch of folks from Tallahassee and Gainesville.
I should have. I missed the big money window. He makes a lot of money doing this, by the way. You know what he's done? I will give him the credit to this, and I'll relate this to football. And with his timing was impeccable. He stood around there, did that show for 30 years, and really had a good show and was known for it. But he kept doing the same thing when his callers gone. And one day they decided to have an SEC network. They said, well, we need to get somebody to talk about it. Who do we get? Well, Feinbaum was the obvious guy. He walked into a really great thing. Now, I'm going to say one. He does 5 shows a week, 4 hours a day. That's insane. Nobody does that. He's getting paid handsome dollars. He just got a new contract. He's getting ready to sign a book deal. There's a big book deal. I mean, big book deal, in which I think he might tell all about college football. We'll see. So, look, he knows how to play that game. He's done well at it. And meanwhile, I sit here eating breadcrumbs and thinking maybe I can make $1 to pay for my light bill this month, So,
yeah. All right. Enough of Paul Feinbaum. All right. Back to the Gators today, Media Day. So, buddy, you're going to be there. is there one question? Obviously, y'all are going to get to ask Coach Napier whatever you want. I don't know if they're going to limit it to a couple of questions here and there, but what's the one question you want to ask Billy Napier today?
Well, I thought about it, and I think Rick Hurtado will call on me to ask one question, but we'll see how that goes because it's pretty jammed. Franz and I will be there, and then Kyle and Lauren Mattis, and Kyle Carter. So we got 4 people there today. My question wouldn't be anything like people want to hear, like they want to say, well, how good is Anthony Richardson and what's his throws and what about the running game and all that stuff. That's all important. This is probably a terrible time to ask him this. So 2 things. One is, how important is timing? It appears as though you're coming off a really good week of recruiting with a head of steam. How much does that help this program go into practice tomorrow, knowing that you're building something and you got proof to show it? That'd be one. You probably give me sort of a non-answer about that. And I want to know this. It's an old.
You know how I would answer that?
Go ahead.
Here's how I would answer it. I was like, it's great momentum for our program, but it has no bearing on when we walk on that practice field today because none of those guys are going to be on this team. That's how I would answer it. Maybe that's the wrong way, but that's how I would answer it.
Well, that's probably accurate. And sometimes accuracy is not the most important thing when you're trying to start a program. But I don't expect to get a great answer out of that. But here's what I really want to ask him. It's an old story, but it's one. Can you give us the context one more time of the time in the game that you came up with the phrase, scared money don't make money? Because that is what now your most famous quote, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember what game it was, but it was a tremendous quote, and obviously people have taken it and run with it, and I love that quote. I absolutely love it. So here's a question that I would ask him if I was.
All right.
It's not so much about Anthony. It's not about whatever. It's like, Billy, have you been able to sit down and take a deep breath and relax since you become the Gator head coach? And how excited are you for this season? And I think, and I talked to Edgar, I think it was yesterday about this, buddy, and you may think I'm crazy, but in the National Football League, when you hire a new coach, they get extra mini camps. They get extra days starting training camp because they're new. Why at the collegiate level, that's not allowed? Because I mean, they're going to walk out on that practice field tomorrow, and they have, I think we're 32 days away from kickoff. I don't feel like we've had enough time for them to implement what they want to do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, they had spring, but it's just a short period of time for an entire new staff to get what they need out of it and see what they have. And I think in the future, college football needs to look at that of extending some time for these kids to practice when they get a new coach.
I think it's a great idea. I don't know if they'll ever go for it because the old coaches don't want to give them any advantages. I'm going to say this. If you can't, you can't do a better job of preparation, in my opinion, than what Billy Napier has done for this moment. I mean, he brought his army in, he got all these people, he went to these 9 stages. Shane, we talked to 21 players now since the beginning of the year. Our last one was your friend and mine, Trent Whittemore, about, which was quite an interview, by the way. He's impressive. And he's going to have a monster year, in my opinion. But the fact is, what more could he have done than what he's done right now to prepare for today? And I expect that will carry over the next 32 days. I think his timing is impeccable. I think he's right on the money. He's the guy he's your kind of guy, measure twice, cut once kind of guy. He's careful, deliberate. You could not be, in my opinion, better prepared for this moment than what Billy Napier is.
I agree. Joseph says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, his question, what we Gators need to know is how AR's development in reading defenses. That is going to be critical for this team in AR. I told y'all they're not going to ask him to read a lot. It's not what he does well. Utilize his athletic ability, make it one read and go. And that's what they're going to do. That's what they did in the spring game, and he looked crisp doing that. Buddy, you were really upset last night for multiple reasons, but your baseball team got rid of your favorite player.
Yeah, and before I go there, let me say that Billy did address that question and addressed it a little in a pretty big context. Said he's impressed with how Anthony Richardson has learned the offense. I asked Trent Whittemore the same question. He said the same thing. So apparently he is learning to read the defenses, according to what the players and the coach said. Well, yeah, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree, but they're not going to sit here and say he can't read.
Yeah, let's simplify. Sure.
So,
well, but I mean, but he didn't have to say. He didn't have to say he's made progress. He bragged on him. He didn't have to say that.
Right.
He said he's doing fine. Let it go. He bragged on him. So there's more than that. Anyway, to answer your question, nobody gives a rip. Well, we got 55 people on here now. I start talking about this, we'll lose 20 right now. But I follow this team as a fan. I don't have to write about it and cover it. I just want to watch it. And I do watch it. And it's Rays baseball. And I've become a fan in the last 3 or 4 years. And there's a couple, and I follow the storylines of the play. I don't care who all the home run hitters are necessarily. I mean, certainly, if you follow the Rays at all, you know they've had terrible luck with injuries. I mean, the most banged up team in baseball. And they also have the highest record of being getting picked off and caught stealing as anybody else in baseball because they take risks. But Phillips, he was an outfielder and didn't start all the time. And a guy that has won the hearts and minds and souls of Rays fans. He's been their guy. He does commercials because he's so popular. He's kind of adopted a young little girl named Chloe who was having cancer. She was at a game. He had a home run that day and did his airplane and all that stuff. And Tricia Whitaker, who I think is very good, by the way, does the color there, does the reporting. Talked about it. And Phillips has become quite an icon to people who follow the Rays. Unfortunately, his batting average wasn't very good, but he did a lot of big plays in the outfield. He was a good base runner. He was a community guy. And yesterday, they traded him off for basically nothing. And I know this is baseball, and I understand that. But really, when you're already down 15, 14 guys injured, and you take a guy who's kind of your heart and soul, and start taking him off for some nondescript player from Houston, Siri, whatever his name is, who doesn't, by the way, have as high a batting average. I don't get it. Sometimes you have a guy because he's a team guy. He and Kiermaier are 2 team guys. Phillips is gone. Brett Phillips is gone. I'm afraid Kevin Kiermaier will be next. When they do that, they're going to lose me.
All right, buddy, before we get you out of here, we got 2 texts with some comments I want to read, brought to you by the Titan MR text line. Alan in Atlanta says, ignore the haters. It's easy for keyboard warriors to criticize recruiting because the coaches can't talk about it publicly. Trust the coaches. You'll never know what factors contribute to player commits. I agree with that. And then this is an anonymous texter referring to the Florida-Georgia game being moved. Why don't you talk about making the Jacks game a UF home game every other year if it's moved? Well, if they're going to play in Athens, we ain't playing in Jacksonville. It's going to be a game.
No, of course.
Yeah. So if the game is moved, it will not be played in Jacksonville.
No,
that would be silly for Florida.
Well, they could do it They could do it every 3rd year. They could have home, and then 3rd year in Jacksonville. That's possible.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how that. I don't think it needs to be moved. I don't think it really has anything bearing on recruiting, quite honestly.
Well, let people know. Get back there and tell people. Call the Feinbaum Show. Tell them stop doing that, man. You know, you're desecrating the game. It's important to have that game in Jacksonville, in my opinion.
Yep. Also, buddy, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was a couple of days before you were supposed to have Trent on your show. Didn't a statement come out saying no more player interviews?
Yes.
Remember? But what changed it? Because I know that you ended up having him on, and you've had other players on. What was
well? That was I already had him grandfathered in, so he got to be on. He was already
okay. But from this point, from now on,
yeah.
Now that they're starting practice,
right.
Okay, that makes sense now. I was curious on that.
Yeah, okay. It's unfortunate because those have been really good interviews, and you've had Trent on. We need to hear from the players. You know what I mean?
Yes, no doubt about it. Did you see where I think it's Brandon Sproat? He's coming back, I believe, right?
He is, yes. He didn't sign with the Mets. They didn't offer him enough money. He says, I'm back. That's big. That's a big deal.
Yeah, especially the way he pitched there late in the year.
Yeah.
He was like a different dude than at the beginning. So,
yeah.
Crazy stuff. The SEC is going to be loaded in baseball as they usually are. Before we get you out of here, buddy, golf. Did you watch any golf this weekend?
I watched a little bit of the Rocket City. And by the way, Ricky Fowler, he missed the cut, was hitting golf balls. And of course, Rocket Mortgage is his main sponsor. He's got to start
playing.
Made
him hang around?
I wonder.
But made him hang around for the weekend?
Probably did, yeah. But I mean, golf, I know you love Tony Finau. I do too. And I read this last night. If I can read it again, this is what you love to hear from a player. This is a guy that I hope stays on the PGA Tour because they need this kind of work ethic. Shane, this should be the credo of every athlete. He said after winning, they say a winner is just a loser that kept on trying, and that's me to a T. How many times do I lose? One thing I won't do is give up, and I'm only here as a winner because I chose not to give up and just kept going.
Yeah, that's an awesome comment, and I'm a big fan of his. Hopefully, he does not join Club 54, but it seems like a lot of guys are going that way. I wanted to get back to you talked about Ricky Fowler hitting balls when he didn't make the cut, and he's headed to I think Greensboro this week to try to get into the FedEx Cup playoff. Yeah. But, buddy, all the years that you've covered golf, I mean, you've covered it for a long time.
Long time.
Did you ever see a guy who didn't make the cut hang around and would go out and practice?
Maybe once or twice, but nobody like that. Yeah, I think I've seen it once or twice.
They usually get on their commercial flight or their private plane and they go home or go to the next place. But that was crazy.
You know, back when Arnold Palmer was playing, he flew his own plane when nobody did. It was never heard of. And it was an old thing when Arnold missed the cut or whatever, you could hear the jet. He would buzz the golf course on the way out of town. That was the thing. It's just very rare. By the way, I think I heard, maybe I'm wrong, that Ricky Fowler is in because of all the LIV guys being suspended. So I think he's in.
He's in what?
The FedEx Cup.
Oh, I don't know. I thought he had to get
but he got moved up because they lost 7 or 8 players in LIV, so they can't play.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting, but I feel like Ricky's going to make the move too. But did you said right here? John said, did you see where Greg Norman said last night they offered Tiger $800 million to join?
I saw those. I knew it was a lot of money, and God bless Tiger. He saved the tour, basically. So,
Listen to this comment brought to you by Melton Law on Facebook. Wes says, when I watch Feinbaum and listen to Bama and Georgia and Tennessee fans, I feel like my IQ goes up.
Yeah.
He ain't lying.
Yeah. But you know what? Let me say this. I watch it every day because it's for college football. It's the only show about the SEC other than what Chris does in the morning, and I watch him during the season. But, I mean, he's on 4 hours every day. I can't stand some of the callers. Paul acts like an idiot sometimes, but he's just a guy putting information out there and creating controversy, and at least it's on college football. And there's a few of us who do this, and very few. And he does it 4 hours a day. So I listen and watch, and I give him credit for what he's done. I don't agree with him a lot of times. But, hey, listen, just like you said, you'll say things on the color broadcast that people aren't going to like either. And you'll be getting Twitter and tweets and all kinds of stuff because you said something. But that's what we do. We're out there, and we say it, and we give our opinion. Look, I spent a half a century giving my opinions as a columnist in 4 different markets, and I've gotten bashed, and I understand what it's like to take a hit. And I've been wrong sometimes, whatever. But when you put yourself out there every day, no matter who you are, and you tell it what you believe to be the truth, probably half the people disagree with it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have no problem with what he does and his show and all that stuff. I have a problem with what he said about the Cup, as he called it, which is called the Desire Cup. But
Yeah,
that wasn't right.
Yeah,
wasn't right in my opinion. All right, buddy, great stuff as always. Y'all going to have an action-packed day today on
we are.
tonight as well.
Yes, we are. A lot going on. We'll be on top of it.
All right, that's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Have a great day, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
We're going to take a quick timeout. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
On August 11th, our restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and we're inviting you to Celebration Point. Proceeds from the event will go to the Ronald McDonald House, and we'll have a spread of your favorite Spurrier dishes, as well as special guests, but you have to get a reservation. So go to Spurriers.com right now and reserve your spot before it sells out. And thank you for a super first year. Go Gators!
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Escape Apology, Sushi Hana, Regal Cinemas, Kilwins, Le Macaron, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30, you can get the hottest brunch in town. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Don't forget, Spurrier's having their 1-year anniversary, August 11th. Big festivities going on there. Big spread. Coach will be there. You'll be able to meet and greet a lot of former players and media folks. So go get your tickets at Spurriers.com. I want to thank Buddy Martin for joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We appreciate Buddy's thoughts. Last night I was on Buddy's show, if y'all didn't see it, and he put some clips about what Feinbaum said about the Florida-Georgia game. But the one I get people talking about the game. That's not the point here. It was what he had to say about the Werfel Cup, and I don't think he really realized what he was saying because I have a hard time believing. 32 days to the Gators toe meets leather in the swamp, 7 o'clock against the Utah Utes. I said yesterday I thought it was 34 days. 32 days from today, I like to throw this out there. Who's your favorite Gator that wore number 32? 32 is a very popular number back in the days when I was growing up, but nobody really wears it. I'm trying to think of a 32. I don't know if anybody out there has a Gator 32 that rings a bell for them. Maybe back in the old days, but no one recently has worn that I'm aware of. John says, when Fine Mom does that caller feud, I find myself asking, why am I watching this? Yeah, I don't watch it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Scott says, whoever said Fine Mom is the Jerry Springer of college football hit the nail on the head. Yeah, well, especially when he gets those Tennessees and the Alabamas and the Auburn folks arguing with one another. It's pretty funny. So Rhett didn't wear 32, Joseph. Rhett wore 33. E-Rhett was the Q-Dog was number 33. So 32, I'm trying to think of 32 who I played with. Kedra Malone, maybe? Little running back, good little player, played a little defense as well. Eugene McCaslam's head says, yes, Eugene was a good, boy, that joker got a little stint with the Green Bay Packers, but yes, he was a good player. John asked, QB, were you at high school media day? Did you talk to any Gator commits? Yes, I was there. I didn't talk to any players at all, but I was there. Jacksonville Baker Sporting Goods does a tremendous job there at TIAA Bank Field in connection with the Jaguars, and I was so busy doing other things I didn't get to see or talk to any of those. Justin Doe wore number 32. Okay, so we got some folks throwing out number 32. At Chris Storing Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Storing Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Gators have media day today. Buddy Martin, as you heard, will be there. They crank up official practice starting tomorrow. I may go out there tomorrow. I may wait till Friday. The first day it's just it's hard to watch football practice in shorts anyway. But I'm anxious to see how it goes. And it's hard to believe it's already here. I said yesterday, the Jaguars play a preseason game against the Raiders Thursday night. That's hard to believe as well. And Tony Baselli, I think Leroy Butler from Jacksonville, the former Seminole, is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So congratulations to those guys. Got a text here on the Titan Mark text line from Jimmy. Jimmy, this is the $1 million question. And if I knew the answer to this, Jimmy, we could all get rich. Jimmy says, Shane, what is your prediction for the Gators this year? Jimmy, appreciate the text. We talk about this, it seems like on every show I go on my show every day. Gators have a difficult schedule. There's no question about it. A&M, LSU, Utah, Georgia. Three of those four teams I just mentioned are all in the top six in a lot of preseason magazines. Utah will be tough. The defending Pac-12 champs coming in with a really good quarterback. They have like 3 tight ends, I believe, that are slated to be drafted in the top 3 rounds of next year's NFL draft. So a really well-coached football team. But will the atmosphere get to the Utah Utes? I'd like to go back and maybe someone, we got great listeners who love to do homework assignments. But you think about Utah, what kind of hostile environments have they really played in? I don't care that they've been into the Coliseum at USC or whatever Oregon's, Alton Stadium there in Eugene, Oregon. Those are nowhere near any SEC caliber atmospheres. So I don't know if they've ever played on the road across the country at a place like Florida. You factor in, I know it's a 7:00 game or 7:30. It's still going to be so damn hot and muggy. And wouldn't you really want one of those showers to come in about 6:35, where after the shower it makes it even hotter? So I don't know how Utah is going to respond. And I think that's the $1 million question. We know they're a good football team, but you're coming across the country with an excited, sold-out crowd in Billy Napier's debut. I just don't know if Utah's ever played in a place like this. So it'd be interesting to see. But to answer your question, I'm hoping we can win 7 or 8 games. I think if we win 8, it'll be a really good year. But, you know, if the ball bounces your way, good things can happen. You may not always be the most talented team, but if you play fundamentally sound, I sound like a coach now. If you play fundamentally sound football, protect the football, you know, sometimes get some breaks here or there, make a few big plays, you can win some games you're not supposed to. So Lauren says Alton is loud, but it only seats like 50,000. Yeah, it's not very big. So Joseph says Utah has never played in this atmosphere or early September in Florida humidity. So, yeah, those are definitely advantages for us for sure. Let's see what this question is from John. If I can pull it up. I'm not sure why it's not letting me pull it up. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's from Alan. Alan says on the Facebook Live brought to you by Metal Law, are there any serious recruits for Florida out there still? And do you feel their defensive line is taking a backseat in the recruiting process? Lauren says there's still a D lineman out there from IMG, I believe. Money McLean is on the board still. Like I said, I don't follow recruiting. I know people want me to, but I don't. They'll get the players. I mean, they're trying to fill the needs of their team. And I've been saying for the last 3 years, the needs of this team are the front seven on defense, big time. I'm hoping that we can be solid in the front seven up there, but I cross my fingers. I get scared thinking about it. Lauren says 8-4, book it. I'm with you. I hope it is 8-4. I will be a happy camper. And you know, you go 8-4, where, you know, you can win some other games. Like I said, if things go your way, it says 7 to 8 wins with being competitive. Okay. Peaceland Dentistry, folks. That's Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. I'm going to take a final time out, come back. We'll get to This Day in Sports, wrap up this Tuesday edition. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
On August 11th, our restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and we're inviting you to Celebration Point. Proceeds from the event will go to the Ronald McDonald House, and we'll have a spread of your favorite Spurrier dishes, as well as special guests, but you have to get a reservation. So go to Spurriers.com right now and reserve your spot before it sells out. And thank you for a super first year. Go Gators.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. I want to thank again Buddy Martin for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat and schedule your air conditioner's tune-up today. keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Comfort Tip Heating and Air. Call us today, 352-376-2366. This AM Sports in 2009 at the U.S. Senior Open at Crooked Stick Golf Club. Fred Funk there in Ponte Vedra wins by 6 strokes over Joey Sindelar with a tournament record score of 20 under par. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Tip. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Tell all your friends and family and neighbors to check us out Monday through Friday on the different platforms out there to listen to your podcast. We'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow after Gator Media Day, and practice cranks up tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow. Take care.